Hello, hello. Elizabeth, can you hear me? Hello. Awesome. Okay. So we're all good.
Okay, so I'm just going to start the live stream.
So you're gonna just,
Click on those.
I'm gonna stop it right now. And then just refresh it for you. And then once you come back at 2 o'clock, just press this 2 button. And then on Zoom, you have to just
Yeah,
These seats are for the council. Thank you. I'm trying to find a break. I didn't realize it was that much. And then we started buying stuff. They use it. So Judy, I should have numbered this.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And I can just straighten the stuff off of there. That's great. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, as many of you, like, yeah. Okay, thank you. That's perfect.
I'm sort of holding this here. It's only that year.
People leave. Send out donation in memory of the law. I don't know the investments. What I did is, yeah, the family. Somebody with I put the person's name. I get
There is additional seating to the right of the room facing, so please help yourself to seating over here to the right. There are plenty of chairs over here. Wow. That's an interesting concept.
Accepted as a scholarly research, because all it is just a circle of the.
Wow.
And this is, and this is.
I did that.
But I just looked at her.
Really like the idea of that.
Yeah. Isn't it? Okay, yeah, I just looked, once they had, yeah. Yeah. Once a year. Yeah, the one I see is there's. No, I think one of the, real. Yes, it is.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please, and welcome to the annual association meeting, which was supposed to happen in January, and COVID intervened once again. So here we are. And next year, hopefully, we can have it in January. Welcome. I'm really glad to see so many residents here. That is great, because this is our opportunity to share with you what the Residents Association is and how that's connected to the Residents Council, and how that is connected to all the committees that do all kinds of different work. And I want to remind you that the money that you donate to the association on an annual basis funds the committees. And so you get the services of your money. And this is where we answer to you and tell you what we've been doing for the whole year. All right? And it's also your opportunity to hear from each of the committees about what they've been doing. And it's an opportunity to know where we stand financially and to participate in electing our new members of the Residents' Council for this coming season. Thank you. Glad to have you here. All right. So our agenda is a fairly simple one, but requires a lot of time. And that is that I will give some brief comments about the purpose of the association. I will give the president's report. Brian Mark will be giving all of the financial information about the proposed budget for the 2024 year and approval of the budget and of the dues for this year. I will then present to you the nominations for the council for the year 2024 and the next 3 terms, 3-year terms. And then Linda Sampson will be presenting the committee chairman and their reports on the committee. And I don't think there'll be much time for questions, but I want to remind you that you're always welcome to attend the Residents' Council meetings that happen each month, usually on the second Tuesday of the month at 2 o'clock, and usually are held in the conference room. And on a quarterly basis, we, hello? Got it. So that on a quarterly basis, we are able to have as many residents as possible here in the GRA and attending the Residents' Council meetings. So the association meeting usually happens only once a year. We need a little more light than that. I do anyway. Thank you. That's good. That's perfect. Perfect. All right. We got it. Yay. All right. So let's go to the Residents Association and the council, the purpose and the performance. The Residents Association is composed of all independent living residents. The council is the governing body for the association, and we serve as the liaison between the residents, the staff, Human Good, the advisory board, and the community. And so we are one of our purposes is that we provide advocacy for you, the residents. And we are involved in all 4 of those situations. The council, the purpose is the quality of life for the residents. Pardon? Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Yay. All right. Thank you. Yes, these microphones are tricky. Yes. Okay. So quality of life, that's what our job is. And the council determines the needs, the concerns, the desires of the community and advocates for the residents when appropriate, again, with the staff, with Human Good, with the advisory board, and the community. We are here for you. The committees operate to fulfill the mission of the Residents' Council to support and enrich the lives of the residents. We have at the moment 12 committees under the oversight of the committee coordinator. Just to clarify, there are some additional committees, and those committees sometimes serve as an on the ad hoc, yeah, conditions. Yeah, that one. Okay, sorry. It's been a long day already. Okay, so let me give you the report.
Louder.
Louder in the mic. All right. The report. We have met on Zoom and in person as possible. Your annual association dues have supported all the committees of the Residents Council, the permanent committees. TLG community responded generously to the recommendation from the Residents Council for the contributions to the Team Member Appreciation Fund, more commonly called the TMAF. I made a point of attending the team member the holiday party for team members and personally reminded them that we, the residents, are the ones who contributed to their annual Team Member Appreciation Fund. And for those of you who are not aware of what that is, it's a total amount of money. Brian will be giving you the specifics. And based on certain criteria, each person who has been in the employ of TLG receives a check at about between Thanksgiving and Christmas to support them and their families for the holidays. One of the things that several members of this council do, myself, Judy Level, Linda Sampson, and Sharon Roth, is that we attend meetings of the Human Good Residents Council. We are the Residents Council for TLG, and there are 22 communities within Human Good that are life plan communities. We get together on a quarterly basis to, thank you. I'm getting coached. We get together on a quarterly basis to share information about common concerns and to share information about how each of the different Human Good life plan communities deal with different aspects of their community. And we're finding it quite enriching, and we bring that back to you. We also hosted a quarterly meeting and a dinner for the Human Good Board last year and supported the resident quilt show. I'm going to just skip to the most important pieces here. There are also members from this council who are part of the community-based, we call it our CAB, our Community Advisory Board, who isn't here in support of our executive director. And we work closely together to make sure that we have good communication in all directions within the functioning of TLG. I know one of the key roles that I've had in the last 5 months has been in working with 2 temporary executive directors and now with our new executive director. And we are very glad to have Peter Morris on board as our executive director. If you have not yet met him or talked with him, please make a point of doing that. I think you will find him delightful. He's got lots of ideas, has lots of experience, and I and many people that I've spoken to are feeling very hopeful about the direction we're moving in as a community. I now want to pass this on to Brian to give you the financial information.
Okay, we have 4 things to cover today. You see up there the Teammate Appreciation Fund status, the 2023 year-end report, the 2023 audit report, and the 2024 budget and dues recommendations. Okay, so you may have seen this information before. It's just kind of customary. We covered it at the annual meeting last year, or essentially in November. We distributed, or I should say, Human Good distributed $128,521 to our team members. This is down from about 142,000 in the previous year. As I understand, throughout most Human Good communities, the contributions were lower in 2023 than they were from 2022. Okay, so that's just briefly on that. Next slide. Okay, there's essentially two statements regarding the financial reports we're going to cover here. First one is essentially a cash flow statement. Just shows how much cash we had at the beginning, how much cash we took in, how much we expended, and then our ending balance. Pretty simple. So we started out with at January 1st, 2023, with $6,842. From residence dues, and residence dues is really our only source of income, though we did get a little donation there also that last year. So we had about $4,900 of revenue. We expended for committee activities and also for council overhead, $6,835, leaving us an ending balance of $4,907. Okay. This is a little bit in more detail, shows how much each committee expended. Briefly, basically, at the beginning of the year or before the beginning of the year, a budget is established, working with the committees to establish how much they think they're going to need for the forthcoming year. And then we track how much they actually do spend. So this is a record. I'm not going to go in every, line by line there. But total committee expenditures were $5,971. They're all, within budget. Everything was fine there. Now, the council, there's, we might say overhead. The council has some expenses it has to pay just to function. And that came out to $865. We didn't have to tip into reserves for anything, nothing extraordinary. So that shows the total expenses of $6,836, which was on the previous slide. A lot of times organizations like to calculate how much, percentage of overhead how much money is spent on overhead compared to the total expenditures. And for us this year was 12.6%. Okay. Now the screen there is blank. I'll just read from it. Every year, as you may, those of you who've been here for a while, that our records are reviewed by usually a select few of a few residents. They kind of overlook, they sample some of my records to see, am I doing things correctly? Am I not taking any money for myself? Things like that, which is important, it's a good service we have here. I'll just read the report. It's just one paragraph. The TLG Resident Council records reflecting the treasurer's financial operations and the attendant financial accounts have been reviewed. In our opinion, the record-keeping process, which employs an electronic spreadsheet format, fulfills acceptable bookkeeping practices. The attendant documentation provides a trail of all income sources and disbursements, along with the justification for these transactions. Therefore, the audit committee recommends the records and associated procedures for keeping these records be accepted. That was signed on January 3rd, 2024, and the team, or the audit team, was Barbara Humphreys, Elizabeth Brubacher, and Ed Smith. Okay, so they were satisfied with the records. Just want to say a good thing. This was all done electronically this year, no paper, other than just getting a signature on this audit report. which I think is great progress. Well, I personally like electronic records. So this was very good. Okay, now moving on to this year for 2024. As I mentioned, committees put together what they think they're going to need to spend. And likewise, the council looks at what we're going to need to spend for just overhead. We come up with a proposed budget. And this budget, as you see up there, total committee expenditures are expected to be $7,025, overhead about $720. We got a reserve of $500, so a total budget of $8,245. This has been approved by the Residents' Council. Okay. So what's that going to mean for dues? Well, last year we did, the dues, as you may remember, were $25 per individual and $60 per couple. $50 for a couple. This year we are raising it, $5. Let me backtrack a little bit. How we fund things is basically we look at how much cash do we have, and then what are the needs? And of course, the needs are going to exceed the cash on hand. So we have to make up that difference by dues. And so this is essentially, how we work, basically what we considered when we determined what we believe are the proper dues to assess this year.
I'd just like to add that to put it in perspective, I believe we had held it at $25 per person for more than 4 years. And that was in acknowledgement of the hardship that everyone was experiencing due to COVID.
Yeah. So this is our proposal, and we do need approval for it. So I ask for a motion to ratify this.
Dale Fisk has made the motion. Second by Susan Shaw. And this is where you get to vote. So we would like to have a raise of hands, please, if you would be willing to approve our request for $30 per person, $60 per couple for this current year to fund the committees. All in favor? Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Okay, that is my report. Certainly, anytime, after this meeting or, throughout, during the year, if you have any questions regarding the finances of the committee, please, by all means, just contact me. Okay, thank you.
Was there a question? Okay. All right. The next item on our agenda is the election of the new people to the Residents' Council. Our current executive committee for the year 2023 was myself, Judy Lovell, Judy Pisano, who replaced Fred Luis, who had to resign. And then we had Brian Mark, Dale Fisk, and Linda Sampson. I want you to know that we, as the Residents' Council, are signing a thank you card, a huge thank you card to Fred Luis, who served more than 6 years on this council and was a backbone of the executive committee in terms of getting us prepared. We now have 2 people to replace him. We have officially Judy Pisano, which will be taking on that role. And we have Bob Strain, who is doing the computer work and preparing our packets for us. And we really appreciate that. I also want to thank Jim Dietrich, who's finishing up his 3 years on the council. And Fred, of course, is now retiring from the council. And I want to show you the slate of the nominees that we would like to bring on to the committee. All right, and then I'm going to ask once again for your vote. We have two new people that we would like to bring on to the Residents Council. Those two people are Carola Bamberger. Carola, could you stand, please? Thank you. And Tom Boyce. Thank you, Tom. These people were nominated by the nominating committee. And I want to thank Dale Fisk and the people of that committee who were Pat Smith, Pat Lori, Kathy Kuzic, and Ruth Wheaton for their work on that committee, because you've brought us some really fine candidates. Now, we also have 4 people who are currently on the council who are returning, meaning they will serve another 3-year term. That count Susan Kuykendall, Judy Lovell, Ryan Mark, and Bob Strain. And I would like to have a motion from one of the council members to accept these. No, it needs to come from the association. Okay, does it have to come from the association? Yeah, okay. She keeps track of all that stuff, so I listen to her. Okay, I would like a motion, please, from a member of the association who is not on the Residents Council to make a motion to accept these new nominees for this current year. Could you please give us your name? Kay, thank you very much. And a second? Pat Campen is the second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Excellent. Thank you. I think you have really good judgment. Okay. So that takes care of that piece. And I want you to know that we are having a 3rd meeting right after this one to bring these people onto the council. And so it will be done. All right. Next is Linda Sampson, who will be leading the committee chairs in giving their reports.
Finally, I have the microphone. Okay, would all of the committee chairs please gather at the front of the room? We're going to each give about 2-minute reports. I mean, it would be lovely to go into depth about what the committees do, because the committees represent the life of this community. They do things for all the residents. They provide entertainment. They provide opportunities to serve. Yeah, Arlene, yeah, committee chairs, please come. Committee chairs, please come. God, it's hurting old people. There's just something else. I also have to have a talk with Brian Mark. I chair 2 committees. Brian left them off of his slides. There will be retribution later. Okay. So we'll take it in. Go ahead. Dean, why don't you do the garden committee?
Linda's the garden committee.
Oh, should you? Why don't you do your committee?
My committee, okay.
Please hold the microphone right up to your mouth at an angle.
All right. Can you hear me? Okay. In January, February, and March, we displayed the beautiful paintings of Doris Davis and Susanna Sue. They were examples of both watercolors and oil painting. Oh, by the way, in 2023, the decor committee worked only on the art wall. In April, May, and June, we were pleased to show the wonderful photography of Ronnie Santos and Martin Knoll. Each used a different style of photography. We had a unique experience in July, August, and September, and part of October, showing some of the artwork done by residents of the assisted living who are taking an art class. Each class used a different technique in presenting their art. A holiday theme was used for November and December. The wall received many compliments on the beautiful stitchery. Those who shared their art with us were Jenny Baird, Flo Creighton, Doris Davis, Barbara Humphreys, Betsy Shoup, and Joanne Wilson. And by the way, if you want to see it, it's only going to be up one more day. Our thanks go to all these artists who generously let us into the world of art for a while. The members of the Decor Committee are Maureen Barbeau, Doris Davis, Pat Garland, Diane Hawes, Penny Kelleher, Willow Schulten, Pat Williams, and myself, Jean Lusk. Kathy Cusick is our RAG reporter, and Pat Smith does our photography for the RAG and for our records.
Thank you. I think we all have grown to appreciate the art wall and the contribution not only of the residents, but of the staff here. It's a real addition to this community. And thank you, Jean. Arlene Berteska will give the report for the library committee.
I'm Arlene Dateska, and I'm the new chairman of the library committee. I'm taking over for Joanne Kubarian, and this is actually her report because she was chairman last year. The library committee maintains the library. It is responsible for ordering and processing new books, DVDs, and puzzles, as well as staffing the desk, checking in returns, shelving books, and answering questions. There are currently 15 members who work 2-hour shifts twice a month. The library is open 8 a.m. until closed by security in the evening. 63 books and 4 puzzles were purchased with the association funds, and additional donated books were added to the collection. Approximately 1,320 items were checked out in 2023. There were approximately 2,000 books in the library, 200 DVDs, and 100 puzzles. Arlene Vateska will be chairman of the committee in 2024. Items checked out in 2023, 792 fiction, 146 nonfiction, 231 large print fiction and nonfiction, 73 DVDs, 76 puzzles. Joanne Kubarian.
The library, is what all of you make it. And the library needs to know what it is you want to read. And if you don't see the kind of literary genres you want to see in the library, you need to let them know. If there are other things in the library, other kinds of books, other media, you need to let them know, because they can do the work, but you're the motor behind what they have to do. So it's on you, folks. Okay, the garden committee.
The garden committee had a very busy year this year. Gloria Millen has been in charge of the garden boxes with the assistance of Susan Kirkendall. All boxes have been assigned, and an excursion to Ace Hardware in April was arranged. The committee was able to buy plants for spring planting. The camera was installed. Yay. Since that time, there have been no thefts or vandalism. Vincent installed signs throughout the community. All the roses were tagged. The committee had a gathering in the Rose Garden. All box holders were able to get acquainted. Vincent arranged for tables and chairs to be provided. Petalon provided coffee and breakfast treats. The shed has been approved and ordered. Maintenance has cleared the area where the shed will be installed.
And that's a blessing, a new shed for the garden committee. You have no idea the work that went into getting that shed. So how about the welcoming committee?
I'm Laurel Gilbert, Welcoming Committee Chair.
The Welcoming Committee's purpose is to welcome and assist residents moving into TLG independent living. The committee holds monthly meetings and for all residents, hosts the bi-monthly meet and greets for residents to get acquainted with new TLG members and to enjoy some entertainment. Most of the committee members serve as greeters who visit new residents with additional information and introduce them at a meet and greet. Other duties are covered by members who organize tours, conduct surveys, and develop information packets for new residents. We work closely with marketing. 8 couples and 16 singles were greeted by members of the committee in 2023. The next meet and greet will be on Thursday, February 29th, with 3:45 o'clock refreshments and 4 o'clock introductions, followed by a performance by Glee.
Thank you, Laurel. That committee does a great job in terms of introducing people to the community and making them comfortable. Now, my first initiation with a welcoming committee chair was, oh, they're not going to like you. And I've been trying to live it down. Pat Smith does yeoman work, putting out the rag month after month after month and hurting a bunch of really, really recalcitrant old people writers.
None of that's true. The Residents' Rag has continued to publish each month this past year. We meet weekly by Zoom to plan, discuss policy, and edit the current submissions received from both the RAG editors and residents of the terraces. We usually publish on the 3rd week of the month. We will publish this Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Be there.
Be there. No. We'll be there. We have 12 regular contributing editors and several community members who contribute occasionally. We are happy to report that in 2023, we had 19 articles submitted by community members. We always welcome these submissions from residents. Just to add a little bit to that, if you have any interest in writing for the RAG, you don't need to do it on your own. You can get help from any of the editors. We're all listed on page 2 of the RAG. They are happy to help you, make suggestions. They can interview you. We have several people who like to interview residents and then can write with you a story, a poem, travelogue, whatever you choose. Recently, we incorporated 2 new recurring columns that have been suggested by residents. They are Terrace Talk and TLG Artist Corner. They are in addition to our ongoing book reports, Poetry Corner, Men's Luncheon, and Wordplay columns. We have discussed, this has been interesting, some new technologies, including artificial intelligence. We have agreed that for now, we will not accept submissions written by artificial intelligence. We probably will revisit this issue in the future. We are especially grateful to administration who supports us by providing the real premium paper we use so that we can continue to put out a quality publication. Extra copies are available from the concierge, usually. There are often a few on the windowsill, and they are all on Cubigo in the committee cube, and there they are archived since 2018.
You have no idea the thousands of hours Pat has put in to assembling the RAG into the form that you see it now. We can all write, but somebody's got to put that sucker together. And I'm telling you, Pat can do it better than anybody I've seen. Thank you, Pat. Okay, Margaret has the Remembrance Committee, which basically I would say is the heart of the resident council.
My name is Margaret McCartney, and I am chair of the Remembrance Committee. which really has only one other person beside myself, and that's Jan Waggett. Since January of 2023, I send out cards to the families, members of residents who have expired here at TLG. There's no need for meetings as I have one committee member. We fill out the cards. I place them in Sandy Marisol's mailbox, and she sends them out as I do not have the family addresses. The cards inform the family members that a gift has been given to the TLG Benevolence Fund in memory of their loved ones. Respectfully submitted, Margaret.
Well done. Okay, and then we come to Curtis Cook, who represents CERT, I'm told.
Yes, thank you, Linda. CERT, for Community Emergency Response Team, is a group of about nominally around 50 people in 9 different task-oriented teams. The teams involve everything from search and rescue, first aid, companions, and a variety of others. But basically, we are prepared, in the case of an emergency, to respond as quickly as we can. We try to get around to all units in independent living within about a 1-hour period. Fortunately, in the time that I have been here, Jim Dietrich, as a geologist, has prohibited the occasion of any earthquake. So thank you, Jim, for saving us from that. However, as you probably realize, the most recent occasion that we had to try to mobilize was on the 4th of February, 4th of February, when we had a power outage for roughly 4 hours. Now, the team was a little bit ragged in getting together, but we made it. We walked through walkie-talkie communications so that people can keep in touch with what is really going on. The incident commander, in this case, Peter, or his designee, essentially activates CERT so that we could mobilize and begin covering the premises within our community. So we are always looking for additional volunteers, even though we have about 50. There's a lot of different tasks that are required to hold everything together. So if you are at all interested and able, please contact me or any of the other members of the CERT team. You'll notice us walking around usually on a Tuesday morning. It's the first Tuesday of the month, dressed with a yellow vest and fluorescent striping. We look like a construction crew, quite frankly, but that's simply the uniform of the day for the CERT team. Thank you.
Job well done. And here we come to the dining committee. Susan, I know, and you know what? It'll be a blessing if nobody says a word to Susan about dining problems for the next 24 hours. Just don't.
The Dining Committee. The Dining Committee is authorized by the Residents' Council to represent the interests of the residents with regard to their expectations of dining at the terraces of Los Gatos, help identify their needs, and make them known to administration and the Director of Dining Services. And if you're wondering why dining is a hot topic among the residents on human goods surveys at the terraces, all you have to do is look back for the past 2 years. We were without a permanent dining services director from March 22 until October of that year. We also had a series of rotating temporary Morrison chefs and sous chefs from April 22 until October of 23. Right now, I'm sure most of you have met Aaron, who is our executive chef and permanent chef. The committee has resident feedback, had resident feedback that post-COVID, due to change in service, no buffet we no longer had a Sunday brunch. We worked for several months with temporary dining director trying to get Sunday brunch reinstalled. And we now, as you notice, have brunch items on the Sunday menu. We asked for new toaster and we got one, but the bread was bigger than the toaster openings. So we requested another toaster. There are so many areas that need improvement that recently the dining committee decided to focus on one or two main areas. The first one was food that was not warm enough, plates that were not hot. And during the time that we were discussing this and setting up the dining comment cards, I kept hearing, and people in the dining room kept saying, "Oh, the food is warm, the plates are hot." As a matter of fact, several times the server said, "Be careful, the plate is very, very hot," and wouldn't let me touch it when he put it on the table. So we decided not to go with hot. We decided to go with correct orders, both in the dining room and in your carryouts. The interesting thing was, although I still hear people talking about incorrect orders, the comment cards that we reviewed, most of the answers were, and most of the answers, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now. The choice was 1 to 5. 1 was negative and 5 was the highest you could rate it. And most of the numbers were rated at 5. So, and we discovered with the comment cards, we have to redesign or do something different because we're not getting enough feedback on online orders. Almost all of the comment cards dealt with dining room service. So if you want to make a comment about your online service, right now we haven't changed the cards yet. If you would, the second question is about carry out. Do comment on your orders so that we know if the staff is filling your orders correctly. And in dining committee this morning, it was brought up about the fact that the printouts are so light that sometimes the residents can't read what's on the printout, so they can't expect the people in the kitchen to be able to read what is supposed to go in the order. They're going to be changing the ink on the printout machine, whatever that's called. It has a special name. So that should improve, but please do make comments, do write your comment cards. The dining committee is reviewing them and we've decided to have a weekly meeting with Paul discussing the dining comment cards. So, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Susan probably runs the best dining committee we've had. I've been here 12 years, and she has run the best dining committee that I've seen in the 12 years. So thank you, Susan. And now we come to those two forlorn committees that were not on Brian's list. The first one was the auxiliary committee. I chaired the auxiliary committee. It was formed to fund worthy projects for the terraces and its neighbors. In order to acquire the monies for this mission, the auxiliary created a resident store, Notions and Needs. All profits from the store are dedicated to our stated mission. The store has been successful in providing an available pool of money that has accumulated unspent since COVID. In the past, we have funded such things as sheet music for the Glee, for the musical events, television for the health center, patio furniture for assisted living, monies for the bus, and hundreds of other things. Currently, while we are amassing funds, we are not receiving requests. Team members and TLG management, as well as residents, can request monies from us to benefit the residents of TLG. Oops, wrong community. We need you to identify for us the things that are currently unfunded by TLG that would benefit residents. It has to be tangible items, not, have a beverage, bring me a drink, something like that. We need you to identify for us what we need. Contact the chair of the auxiliary with an identified need You can get you an application form and we need to hear from you. I am resigned as chair of the committee at the end of this year. Cecil Anderson will be the new chair. And now to the second committee that was left off of the Brian's. It was Brian. I can't stand it. It's
No budget, you don't get on the list.
The Decor had no budget either. They were on the list. So anyhow, the buddy.
Life's tough.
The buddy program. This is the 10th year that the buddy program has been in existence. It was founded 10 years ago by residents who were interested in enhancing the safety and well-being of their fellows at TLG. It has proved itself over and over again and has been especially important since 2020 when COVID shut down the community. For nearly 4 years, there was no annual assessments and little to no information about the well-being of independent living residents, except that provided to wellness by the buddy building coordinators. The coordinators know all the people in their building, who has a buddy, who wants a buddy, who needs a buddy but declines. The building coordinator, whether you have a buddy or not, is keeping an eye out and is watching people who become frail or more at risk and trying to get the help for them that they need. The program has turned out to be one of the most important resident contributions to the community. If you think this program matters and you might be interested in becoming a building coordinator, please contact me. I have 2 buildings that I have to be buddy coordinator for. And, you know, really, I need help. Where is it?
The social committee,
Oh, well,
and
you-
Margaret is making that report.
I was so impressed with her remembrance.
Sharon Roth is chair of the social committee, but she's out of town and I've been asked to present her report. Social committee works closely with the activities coordinators to bring entertainment, education, enrichment to the residents of TLG. The past year, the social committee brought you Sweetheart Valentine's Day Dance, History Club, the Women's Tea, helped make Sherry's Party a huge success. Fred Meyer's piano concertos, firefighters luncheon, piano accompaniments for the Glee, helped with Marguerite's Party, sponsored the foundation of the Ice Cream Social, Monday night movies, apartment tours in the summer, porch and patio holiday tours. Your suggestions are always welcome. We meet and discuss what we should continue to do or to bring new ideas forward for your enjoyment. Sharon Roth.
Okay. The social committee represents part of the life of this community. Just so you all know and can get ready, later this year, I'm going to be looking to establish a big committee day. I haven't told the committee chairs this yet, so I'll be meeting with them later. But it'll be a time for residents to come, meet with the committee chairs, see what they're doing, and see whether there's something that you would like to do. We have jobs for all of you, so please join up. Yes. A question?
I'm sure that I, as well as all of the residents who've been here today, have really enjoyed the presentations from all the committees. I see, however, that Jim Ottinger is not here, who is the chair of the Foundation Committee. Did you have someone else in mind to represent them?
Jim is behind you in the last row, and they are not a funded, authorized committee under the Residents' Council, and that's why you did not hear from them today.
That's too bad, because they do so much
Thank you
essential
for
work.
bringing that up, and they have other forums at which they are represented. So thank you. And thank you, Linda. Never mind. Thank you to all of the committee chairmen for your report. I'm really glad that you got to hear what the committees are doing. Yeah, what about the Cubigo committee? Uh-oh, you mean you forgot one? Are you giving that report? I don't know.
Bob Strain.
One more to go.
There's always one more committee, isn't there?
Thank you, Bob.
I couldn't stand up because these slides, I put them in alphabetical order. And Linda did everything in random order. But so the TLG Residence Committee is devoted to improving the experience that all of us have with the Cubigo information and access system. However, it feels like the year 2023.
Closer to your mouth, Bob. Thank you.
Well, sounded loud to me. It feels like the year 2023 was a year of incremental improvements. While improvements from the Cubigo company itself have been very modest, the most important software improvement this year came in the dining software for online ordering. They improved their portal for ordering food, particularly for smartphone interfaces. This year will present some uncertainty on that front because the role played by Full Count, that's the dining software people, may be taken over by Cubigo, and that'll reduce the number of software vendors involved in food service from 4 to possibly as few as 2. Trials are in progress to assess Alexa, that's an Amazon utility, as an audio interpreter for Cubigo information. This could help our visually impaired folks. Most of our recent attention has gone toward improving the information cube. We're trying to make that the contents of that cube both accurate and up to date, and it's a challenge. This work is all done by the Terraces of Los Gatos team members, although some promising software changes are expected to make the directories updating automatic. Our fingers are crossed on that. In the meantime, I want you to remember that we want this Cubigo system to work for everyone. So get your needs and wants into our committee. Your guidance is important. And getting it into our committee, that could be me, it could be Fred Luis, although he's much less active. Cecil, I've had to give Cecil away to the auxiliary committee, so we'll miss her. Mickey Friedland, Jim Dietrich, Sharon Roth, Linda Sampson, and Kendall Kempis works very closely with us out of Peter's office. So give us help so you can get help. Thank you.
That is the report from the Residents Council. Thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next year when we will have more to report. See you then, and thank you very much. Bye-bye. Yes. I don't understand. A reminder to the Residence Council members that we will be reconvening at 3:15.